Good morning to you everybody. Myself is Bedge S.A. from Electronic Science Department, Anna Sahib Optic College, Manchar. Dear students and friends, today I want to introduce a course related with TYBSc Electronic Science Semester 3rd. Name of the course is Microcontrollers and is a paper 2nd. As far as this course is concerned, initially you have to remember the main objectives of this particular course. Therefore, just I will give some information regarding to the main objectives associated with the microcontroller course. As you know, nowadays the embedded products are used in our daily life, and in such embedded products or systems, the microcontrollers are acting as a brain of the system. Therefore, while designing the embedded systems, student must have some knowledge regarding to the microcontrollers. As far as microcontrollers are concerned, what is the internal organization known as architecture? What type of instructions are used for the microcontrollers to write the programs is taken into account while discussing the corresponding course. Therefore, first objective is to learn the microcontroller architecture and instruction set associated with it, with special reference to 8051 microcontroller, which is a 8-bit microcontroller. The second objective is that student must get some idea regarding to how we will write the assembly language programs for the microcontrollers. And in addition to that, if you want to expand the system, how you can able to interface memory and input-output devices along with the microcontroller, that some techniques also taken into account. Now these are the main objectives of this particular course. Now by taking into account these objectives, the syllabus is designed. Now if you see the syllabus mainly contain 4 different units. The unit number 1 is associated with the microcontroller architecture. Microcontroller architecture. Second unit is associated with instruction set of a microcontroller. The third unit is dealing with the program development tools and IDE. Program development tools and integrated development environment. The fourth topic is related with the memory and I/O interfacing. Memory and I/O interfacing. At least you remember that in this course we have to study these 4 topics one by one. Now with the help of the details regarding to the syllabus, they are provided on the university website. Therefore you can take more details from the website. But this is the syllabus corresponding to the course. As far as this syllabus is concerned, or to learn the theory of microcontrollers, student must have some basic background. Now to learn the theory of microcontrollers, initially the student must have knowledge regarding the digital fundamental concepts. All these concepts we have studied at FY and SY level. There is no need to take into account the revision of it, you know already. And another basic background related is corresponding to the digital computer. Remember that our microcontroller chips alone can function as a digital computer. Therefore, you must have some basic knowledge regarding to the digital computers. You may have studied somewhere or may not be, but for our necessity, I will take into account the brief theory of digital computer as a, you may treat this as a revision if you already know, but anyhow we have to take into account the theory of digital computers. The first question come in our mind is nothing but what do you mean by digital computer? At least you remember, digital computer is a multi-purpose programmable machine. Multi-purpose programmable machine. Which reads the instructions from memory, accepts the data from the inputs, processes the data in accordance with the instructions given, and generates the final results of operations which are provided to the output device. Now such type of multi-purpose programmable machine, we are calling it as a digital computer. And you know, such type of digital computers are widely used in each and every field. Now as far as digital computers are concerned, we can able to study the concept of it with the help of a block diagram. With the help of a block diagram. Any digital computer will include 4 basic components inside it. Number 1, known as CPU, central processing unit. Then input devices, output devices, and it requires a memory. All these different blocks, they are represented with the help of block diagram as shown in the figure. Just I will draw the corresponding figure in brief. This is the CPU associated with the digital computer, and this CPU is connected to memory devices which will contain ROM plus RAM. Then input device, and output device. The externally connected devices to the CPU, they are known as peripherals, and they are connected through a common bus known as system bus. Therefore, I will call this as a system bus, which is interfaced to the memory, to the input device, and to the output device. Anyway, this is the block diagram of a digital computer. Now I will explain the function of each and every block in brief. From that point of view, let us take into account what is the function of CPU. CPU is acting as brain of the computer. Brain of a computer. And is used to perform all the different types of processing operations plus control. Therefore, job of CPU is nothing but process plus control. These two important functions are carried out with the help of CPU. And remember that the microcontrollers, the digital computers designed by using microprocessor as the CPU, are known as microcomputers. Anyway, just to remember these things in brief. The second important unit is nothing but a input device. Through the input device, the computer can receive the information from the outside world. Therefore, user can feed information to the computer through input device, through it. The next important device, we are calling it as a output device. Whatever may be the result generated by the CPU, they are given to the output device. Results of operations are provided to user through output device. User can see the final results of operations on the output device. The input and output devices, they are acting as interface between the user and computer. The another important device required is nothing but a memory. As far as memory is concerned, it is acting as a storage device which stores the information in the form of binary digits, that is 0 and 1. Two types of memories are used. One of them is ROM, read-only memory. It is a semiconductor memory from which information is only read by the CPU and is used for permanent storage of the programs. On the other hand, there is another memory known as data memory or read-write memory, known as RAM, random access memory, and is used to store the user's programs. As far as digital computers are concerned, both the ROMs and RAMs type of memories are always needed to form a digital computer. Now all these four units, they are interfaced with the CPU through a system bus. Therefore, I will tell something regarding to what do you mean by system bus. Actually, it is a communication path between the peripherals and the CPU, and communication path between the peripherals and CPU. As far as system bus is concerned, it includes address bus, data bus, and control bus. Address bus is used to provide the addresses for memory and I/O devices. Data bus carries the data from one place to the another place, and in order to control the operation of a system, some control signals are used which goes under the control bus. Therefore, any system bus will include these three different types of buses inside it. Lastly, you remember that how the digital computer will work. Just I will tell in brief. Depending upon the task, the user will write a program. Now through the input device, this program is fed to the CPU and is stored inside the memory. All these programs are generally stored inside the memory. When the computer is instructed to start the execution, CPU will take the instructions from memory one by one. They are executed, identified and executed by the CPU, and after execution of whole program, the final result of operation is generated by the CPU. Now this particular result is either stored inside the memory or is sent to the output device through which the user can take it. In this way, shortly remember that how the digital computer will function in brief. Now with this basic knowledge, anyhow we have to remember that our microcontrollers will alone function as a digital computer. Therefore, as far as microcontrollers are concerned, the functioning is similar to a digital computer. From that point of view, we have taken into account all these things. Now, while studying the theory of digital computers, microcontrollers or microprocessors, you have to use some basic terms, and you must have some knowledge regarding to that basic concepts also. I will take into account in brief. Some of them already you know. Basic terms. Throughout the course, we have to use these particular terms many times, and therefore you should have some knowledge regarding to the basic terms. The first term you have to keep in mind is known as bit. Actually, it is the abbreviation for the word that is known as binary digits. Instead of saying binary digits, the word bit is used, and you know the binary digits are nothing but 0 and 1. Whatever may be the processing going on inside the computer is in the form of bits, and therefore you remember that information is processed by the digital computer in the form of logic 0 and 1. Logic 0 is represented with the help of low voltage level, while logic 1 is represented with the help of high voltage level inside the digital machine. That is also important. The second term commonly used is a data. Data. Whatever may be the binary information processed by the computer, generally we are calling it as data. Binary information processed by the computer, we are calling it as a data. Then another term, commonly used term, is nothing but an instruction. What do you mean by instruction? Actually, instruction is a command in binary that is recognized or identified by the CPU to carry out some desired task. Just I will write in brief. A command in binary that is recognized by the computer to carry out some desired task. For example, you are interested to add two different numbers, x and y. Related with that, there is a instruction add x with y. Anyway, you have understood the meaning of instruction. Different instructions are provided to carry out the variety of operations. Now, if you write a set of instructions in a specific sequence, you are getting a term, we are calling it as a program. Therefore, if somebody asks you what do you mean by program? Program is nothing but a set of instructions written sequentially for the computer to carry out the desired task. Therefore, here I will write in brief, set of instructions written in a specific sequence to carry out the desired task. We are calling it as a program. Now, for any computer system, you can write the number of programs, and such type of group of programs written for the computer system is known as its software. Therefore, what do you mean by software of a computer? Actually, it is nothing but a group of programs for a computer system. For a computer system is nothing but its software. And whenever the software is permanently stored, it is known as firmware. It is known as firmware. Another term you have to remember is nothing but a hardware of a computer. Whatever may be the physical components associated with the computer is nothing but its hardware. Physical components of a computer is nothing but its hardware. Now you know what we mean by software, you know what we mean by hardware. You can distinguish between them very easily. Keep in mind that the software written for the computer can be changed by the user very easily, because simply by changing the instructions we can change the programs and hence the software. On the other hand, once the hardware is designed by the manufacturer, the user can't able to change the hardware very easily. That is the basic difference between the software and hardware. Anyway, while studying the microcontroller course, we have to use these different terms many times, and for that purpose I have given some meaning related with it. Lastly, you remember that there are variety of microcontroller chips available in the market, but as far as our syllabus is concerned, we have to take into account the theory of 8-bit microcontrollers with special reference to Intel's 8051 microcontroller chip, which is a core or fundamental microcontroller chip. From that point of view, everything is dealing with our 8051. Today we will stop here only. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Myself is Bedge S.A. from Electronic Science Department, Anna Saheb Avte College, Manchal. Dear students, today I want to introduce the unit number 1 related with our microcontroller course, and name of the unit is microcontroller architecture. As far as this unit is concerned, today I will take into account the first article from it, Introduction to Microcontrollers. As far as this article is concerned, the first question comes in our mind, that is nothing but what do you mean by microcontroller? Now if somebody asks you what is microcontroller, you should be able to give precise answer regarding to it. From that point of view, at the first stage, you have to remember a microcontroller is a true digital computer on a chip. Since it acts as a true digital computer on a single chip, we say that the microcontroller alone can function as a digital computer. And for that purpose, the second important point you have to keep in mind is nothing but, you know what we mean by digital computer. Therefore, our microcontroller chip also includes a CPU, central processing unit, you may call it as microprocessor. In addition to that, fixed amount of ROM, RAM, IO ports and the timers, all they are included in one chip. Therefore here just I will write in brief, a microcontroller has a CPU, central processing unit, we may call it as microprocessor. In addition to fixed amount of ROM, RAM, IO ports and timers on a single chip. Since it contains all the necessary element required for digital computer, already you know it functions as a digital computer. Alone functions as a digital computer. Now with reference to this, you can able to draw the block diagram of microcontroller chip. Broadly, we say that if this is a single microcontroller chip, then this microcontroller chip will contain different elements inside it. Number one, we say that CPU, then RAM memory, ROM, IO ports, timers, and serial communication port. Now such type of chip, we are calling it as a microcontroller chip in general. Now if you look towards this particular block diagram, any microcontroller chip will include a central processing unit. You may call it as a microprocessor. In addition to that, it has a RAM memory, data memory, used for data storage by the user. A ROM memory known as program memory, permanently the programs are stored inside it. Some IO ports, they are used for interfacing the input and output devices. Timer counters are also there, and to have a serial data communication, there is a minimum one serial communication port. In this way, I think you have understood the meaning of what do you mean by microcontroller, what it includes, and that will be represented with the help of a block diagram. Anyway, since the basic components needed for the digital computer, they are all included in one chip, we say that our microcontroller alone function as a digital computer. Just I will write microcontroller alone functions like a digital computer, With this information, what actually the microcontroller is doing, that also you have to remember. What is the purpose of microcontroller chip? That we have to take into account. At least to remember the prime function of microcontroller. Is nothing but it has to read the programs stored inside the memory, do some calculations on that, and to control the environment so that the machine will work properly. From that point of view, just to remember, the prime use of any microcontroller chip is nothing but to control the operation of a machine. By using standard program stored in memory, in ROM, that does not changes over the lifetime of the system. This is the primary function carried out by the corresponding microcontroller chip, and therefore here we will make one important statement. The microcontrollers are acting as brain of embedded systems. The microcontrollers are the brain of embedded systems. Microcontrollers are the brains of embedded systems. Different types of embedded systems are there, in which through some standard program the parameters are controlled, and for that purpose just I will give some examples to you. For example, associated with the computer there is a printer. What is the job of printer? It has to accept the data from the computer and give printout it. Now this function does not changes over the lifetime of the printer, and therefore we say that printer is an example of embedded system. Inside the printer all activities are automatically controlled by using a microcontroller chip. From that point of view we are saying that printer is a embedded system. Simple example another I will take into account. If you see the different operations carried out by the TV remote, TV remote uses inside a microcontroller chip. This is the another example. Then in addition to that, we say that fax machine, different number of toys, etc. are the examples of embedded systems, in which our microcontroller is playing an important role. Anyway, as far as microcontrollers are concerned, we have taken into account the different points regarding to it. As far as these microcontroller chips are concerned, here we have to take into account the types of microcontrollers. Now there are different ways to classify the microcontroller chips, and one of them is nothing but depending upon the word length. Depending upon the word length means what? Number of bits processed at a time. Number of bits processed by the microcontroller at a time. The microcontroller chips are classified into different types like 4, 8, 16 and 32-bit microcontrollers. As an example, if you take into account 8-bit microcontroller, meaning is that at a time it will process the information in the form of 8 bits, a group of 8 bits. On the other hand, a 32-bit microcontroller processes a bulk of 32-bit data at a time. Automatically, the execution speed provided by 32-bit microcontroller chip is always faster as compared to 8-bit. As far as our course is concerned, generally we have to deal with the theory of 8-bit microcontrollers. Then such type of microcontroller chips, they uses two types of memory architecture. Memory architecture. One is known as Von-Neumann architecture, Pincetron architecture, Von-Neumann, and another is nothing but a Harvard architecture. Therefore, whether our microcontroller chip uses Harvard architecture or Von-Neumann architecture, depending upon that also the execution speed will go on changing. Just in brief, you remember in Von-Neumann architecture, the program memory and data memory, they use the common bus. Therefore, automatically the speed of execution decreases. On the other hand, in Harvard architecture, of the memory organization. Separate buses are used for program memory and data memory to enhance the execution speed of the microcontroller. At least remember, microcontroller chips are having a whole human memory architecture or Harvard architecture. In addition to that, the microcontrollers are having a instruction set, and depending upon what type of instruction set is used, the computers are known as CISC and RISC architectures. CISC and RISC architectures. CISC means what? Complex instruction set computer, and RISC means reduced instruction set computers. Now, what is the basic difference between them? Just you keep in mind. In CISC architecture, lot of instructions are provided by the manufacturer to carry out the variety of functions, while in RISC architecture, limited number of instructions are provided to carry out the operations. But one point we have to keep in mind, the microcontrollers are having a RISC architecture. They are having faster execution speed as compared to CISC. One example I will tell here. Our 8051 microcontroller uses a CISC architecture, while the PIC microcontroller uses RISC architecture. At least remember, there are number of ways to classify the different types of microcontrollers. Some of them just I have told you in brief. As far as our course is concerned, here we have to take into account again the theory of 8-bit microcontrollers with special reference to 8051. And for that purpose, here in brief I will give some information regarding to microcontroller families. There is a 8051 family known as MCS51. Different companies will manufacture the 8-bit microcontroller chips under the family name that is known as MCS51. Just I will give a few examples to you. 8052 provided by Intel, 8031, these are the family members of MCS51. In addition to that, there is a PIC microcontroller family. Number of sub-families are also there. For example, PIC18 family is the current family from the microcontroller chips. There is a AVR group of microcontrollers, then Motorola, etc., Philips. At least you remember 2-3 names corresponding to the microcontroller families. You have to also remember that such type of microcontroller chips, they are fabricated by the different companies. One of them famous company is Intel Corporation from USA. The series is nothing but 8051. Philips company, Dallas Semiconductor, Maxim Corporation, Motorola, all Microchip Corporation, all these are the different companies who will manufacture the different types of microcontroller chips. Lastly, as far as introduction is concerned, you remember that throughout the semester we have to study the theory of 8051 microcontroller with reference to their architecture, instruction set, how the assembly language program is done along with 8051, and how you can able to interface some external memory and I/O devices along with the 8051 microcontroller. We have to take into account in the corresponding course. In this way, I have given some brief introduction regarding to the microcontrollers. Now, from knowledge point of view, I will proceed towards the another point, commonly used device, we are calling them as microprocessors. What do you mean by microprocessor? Actually, microprocessor is a chip that can function as CPU of digital computer. A MIPI is a general purpose device. A microprocessor is a general purpose device that functions as a CPU of a digital computer. This is very important point we have to remember. Whatever may be the digital computers we are using nowadays, inside the digital computer to carry out the job of CPU, central processing unit, actually brain of the computer, here the microprocessor chips are used. I think we have understood the meaning of what we mean by microprocessors that I have told in brief. As far as microprocessors are concerned, a MIPI contain, the microprocessor contain different types of registers, then arithmetic logic unit, timing and control unit, shortly abbreviated as TCU. In addition to that, program counter, stack pointer, timers, etc. All they are included in one chip. We are calling it as a microprocessor. Now you can represent the microprocessor chip with the help of a rough block diagram. Now if you call this as a microprocessor, or we say that CPU, broadly it is divided into three parts. It contains the number of working registers inside it. Second important unit is nothing but ALU, and third one is nothing but timing and control unit. In addition to that, there is a interrupt section, and for serial communication some ports is also provided along with the CPU. Anyway, this is the block diagram related with it. Block diagram. Now if you take into account the microprocessor chips, definitely we say that the device can't work alone. Now to become it as functional as a digital computer, the user has to add some additional components along with it, like a ROM, RAM, then some I/O ports that should be added along with the CPU to form a digital computer. Therefore, here the microprocessor cannot work alone as a digital computer. It cannot work alone as a digital computer. We have to add some amount of ROM, RAM and I/O ports along with CPU, so that it functions as a digital computer. Now by using microprocessors, you can able to form a microprocessor based systems. Microprocessor based systems. How the system will look like, just I will draw in brief the block diagram associated with it. Here there is a CPU and the another peripheral devices, like I say that ROM, RAM, then IO ports, we say that timer, and serial communication port. All they are externally added along with the CPU. They are connected through two different types of buses. You know the buses already. One is known as address bus and second one is data bus. Now such type of system, we are calling it as a microprocessor based system. Now this system can work as a digital computer, no doubt. Now if you compare the performance of microprocessor based systems with the microcontroller based systems, definitely we say that the microprocessor based systems are complex to design, hardware required, they are large, cost is also high, and therefore the time required for execution is also large. From that point of view, the systems are not useful in the embedded products. Instead of that, the advantage is that the systems are more versatile in nature, because it is in our hand to add some fixed amount of ROM, RAM and IO devices along with it. Therefore, the systems are more versatile as compared to microcontroller based systems. Finally, we can able to what do you mean by microcontrollers, what do you mean by microprocessors. Finally, you can able to comparison between microcontrollers and microprocessors. Nobody can ask in more detail, but just with the help of this knowledge, you can able to compare the microcontrollers with the microprocessors. Again, just to remember that first point, important point is that our microcontroller can alone work as a digital computer. Microprocessor does not work alone as a digital computer. We have to add some amount of extra ROM, RAM and IO devices along with it. As far as microcontroller based systems are concerned, they are useful whenever the space and cost of the system are critical. And already I have told you, the microcontrollers are acting as brain of the embedded systems or products. On the other hand, the microprocessor based systems, they are bulkier in nature, complex to design, but they are more versatile. Now whatever may be the digital computers nowadays we are using, they uses the microprocessor as its CPU, and already you know such type of personal computers, they are used nowadays in each and every field. From that point of view, I think just to remember the basic difference between microcontroller and microprocessor based systems. In this way, today we have learned in brief. I have given introduction regarding to the microcontrollers, and lastly, for our knowledge, we have compared the microprocessor chips along with the microcontrollers. what are the advantages, drawbacks related with each other. In the remaining part of this particular unit number 1, we have to take into account the architecture of 8051 microcontroller. Architecture of 8051 microcontroller. Students may feel that why only 8051 architecture we have to study. Just to at this stage remember that 8051 is a basic or core microcontroller chip, 8-bit microcontroller chip. If you learn the architecture of 8051, you can easily study the architecture of any type of 8-bit microcontrollers very easily. You can do the programming of that, and for that purpose in our syllabus we have to take into account the theory of 8051 microcontroller. Okay, with this information today we will stop here only. Thank you very much.